Hello, class. We're group number 3. My name is Jennifer Galvan,
Brian Guevara.
Jennifer Guzman.
And I'm Samantha Mongham.
and we are doing the music video for Yo Perreo Sola by Bad Bunny, directed by Bad Bunny and Stills. In the book By Notes for a Bisexual Revolution, written by Sherry Eisner, Eisner states, of all groups that suffer from gender-specific oppression, trans people are one of the most oppressed. By this, Eisner is explaining that within the LGBTQ plus community, although everyone part of the community is oppressed and experiences prejudice, transgender people suffer the most in all aspects of their life. This includes situations that range anywhere from housing and healthcare to systematic violence and oppression. Ultimately, most of these incidents result in the deaths of transgender people. Transgender men do not face the same amount of oppression and violence the same way that transgender women do, but that's not to say that they don't experience oppression and violence as well. According to the Human Resources Campaign, advocates have estimated that at least 23 transgender people were murdered in 2016, 29 were murdered in 2017, and 26 were murdered in 2018. This is over a span of 12 months. However, those numbers are nothing compared to the ones in Latin America. Next slide. The Statista Research Department published that the Trans Murder Monitoring Project did research on the homicide rates of trans and gender diverse people in Latin America. The Trans Murder Monitoring Project is a project that collects data and reports homicide rates of transgender people all over the world. These deaths are from October 2018 to September 2019. Within these Latin countries, it's a total of 258 people at least. In Brazil alone, there was a total of 130 people. Those numbers are only the ones who are reported. This does not take into account those who are missing and those deaths who go unreported. Next slide. In Bad Bunny's video, Yo Perreo Sola, Bad Bunny brings representation and awareness to the transgender community. He wears a dress and a wig in multiple scenes. And here's an example to the right. Next slide. Bad Bunny is a Latino Hispanic artist and comes from Puerto Rico. He has a huge platform in the Latin Hispanic community and uses it to his advantage to fight against homophobia, transphobia, and at the same time machismo, which is a huge problem in Latin countries. Next slide.
Alrighty, so on February 27th, Bad Bunny went on The Tonight Show, hosted by Jimmy Fallon, to announce his release date for his new album, YHL QMDLG, which stands for Yo Hago Lo Que Me Da La Gana, which is translated to I Do What I Want. In addition, he also goes on to play one of his newest songs, Ignorantes. Next slide. While performing, he is seen wearing a shirt that says Mataron a Alexa, no un hombre con falda. This is translated to They murdered Alexa, not a man with a skirt. It is no coincidence that Bad Bunny played Ignorantes while he was wearing that outfit. He was referring to the ignorantes, ignorants, who are society as they do not accept or respect transgendered individuals. Following slide. Now, many may be asking, who is Alexa? Alexa was a transgendered woman who was brutally murdered in Puerto Rico. In efforts to spread awareness, Bad Bunny wore a skirt to pay tribute for Alexa. Following slide. A couple days later, Bad Bunny released his music video for another song, Yo Perreo Sola, which stands for I Twerk Alone. The meaning behind this song is to end sexual harassment. Following slide. In the music video, he is once again seen wearing a skirt, paying tribute to Alexa, but now in chains. The chains are meant to represent the oppression LGBTQ plus people undergo, specifically transgendered people. Following slide. Although Bad Bunny receives a lot of support from his fans, he still gets a lot of hate comments about cross-dressing as well as other feminine activities. At the end of the day, it does not bother him as his priority is to break toxic masculinity as well as LGBTQ plus related phobias. Now, I also incorporated a picture of Marsha P. Johnson, as I see a lot of similarities between these two individuals as they constantly do what feel is necessary in order to get the message across. Next slide.
Okay, as my group member Brian mentioned the hate crime as well as murder of Alexa, the transgender woman, not a man with a skirt, I will be explaining how it is considered femicide. In Bad Bunny's video, Yo Perreo Sola, it shows representation of that with a scene where he is dressed as a woman and there are two signs on either side of him. This represents femininity and how transgender women are women and they are feminine despite of what society says. The sign on the side he is facing, Las Mujeres Mandan, that translates to Women Rule, which is representation of the movement Ni Una Menos, which is on the side that his back is towards. Ni Una Menos is a Latin movement that started in Argentina for all the hate crime and femicides against women. Next slide. In 2015, a law by the name of the Elvira Celi Law was created for all hate crimes and femicides towards women because of their gender identity. In 2017, Anielia, a transgender woman who was murdered in Colombia by the hands of a man because of her identity, Colombia being the first place ever to prosecute a transgender woman's murder as femicide under the Elvira Celi Law. Anielia was one of 35 transgender women who are murdered in Colombia because of how they identify. Next slide. Another transgender woman who was recently murdered in Colombia was Paloma Salas Jimenez, who was murdered by the hands of a man because he said Paloma was a man in women's clothes. But prosecutors prosecuted Paloma's murder as femicide because of the Elvira Celi Law as well. Bad Bunny shows so much representation of the LGBTQ plus community by defying what society says and not conforming with gender roles. Next slide.
All right, so now we will be talking about feminism and transgender intersection. Eisner quotes, minority world society is gender binary, one that actively genders each and every one of us, whether or not we want to be, and treats us according to that category. Now we will speak about the violence intersection. Eisner quotes, violence is a way of dominating verbally, physically, or symbolically. On the figure below, you can see that Bad Bunny is being chained by the majority of the people. This is seen in the real world where the CDC states 37% of cisgender women undergo domestic violence. Likewise, in the transgender world, 98% of trans feminism versus trans masculine, 1.45% overall homicides are experienced. Now we will speak about the privilege intersection. Eisner quotes, transgender share a complex experience of passing both voluntarily and coercive, cisgender or monosexual. In the picture on the left, you can see that Bad Bunny is dressed as a male. On the right, he is dressed as a female transgender. And this is also seen in the real world where Ben Bars, a female transitioned into a male, reported an increase in privilege in their career. Lastly, the threat to patriarchy intersection, Eisner quotes, men are expected to be strictly and always heterosexual. Being gay is one of the most dreaded things that a man might be suspected of. This is seen again where Bad Bunny is being chained, and he is obviously representing a male. This is seen in the real world where 50% of male to female individuals report abuse due to gender-related differences. And that is our presentation.